Hi, this is Roger. The purpose of this video is to show the implications of using the Moxy in the speed and cadence mode to interface with head units that don't have muscle oxygen profile capability, and especially when you do that in conjunction with a power meter, there are some complicating interactions. So first I've got up here on the screen is just kind of a standard case where you would have a head unit. Typically there are 4 data display fields that are relevant to this discussion: heart rate, power, speed, and cadence. The heart rate is kind of the simple one. You have a heart rate strap. It sends its data out using ANT+. It says each data packet says it's a heart rate sensor, has the serial number, and it says, has the heart rate data of 62 beats per minute, and then the head unit knows to display that in the heart rate display field. The power meter is a little bit more complicated. So the power meter sends out its data. It says it's a power meter. Each data packet says it's a power meter. It has the serial number of the power meter. It says it has the power data encoded in some way. In this case, I have it just as 150 watts. It has a wheel speed. It sends out the wheel speed in terms of RPMs, not in terms of land speed. And then it also has the cadence in terms of RPMs. Then on the head unit, the head unit knows the wheel size, so it's able to convert the wheel speed in RPMs into land speed based on the wheel size that's programmed into it. The head unit might also be recording GPS speed data. Generally, the head units will give priority to speed data that's coming from the bike rather than the GPS data, just because it's more stable and more accurate. And then also you'll have the cadence data displayed down here. Then if we look at another case here where you add a speed and cadence sensor to the mix, like here, the heart rate works the same. The head unit treats that the same way. In this case, when you have a speed and cadence sensor and a power meter on the bike, depending on what type of power meter you have, the head unit is going to get data on speed and cadence from 2 different sources. So it'll get data from the power meter and from the speed and cadence sensor. The data that it will display depends on the head unit. It's going to give priority to either the power meter or the speed and cadence sensor. And I think most of them, this is just hard-coded into the head unit. I don't think you can program manually which device it gives priority to. I talked to the people at PowerTap about their Joule head unit. They told me that the Joule head unit will give priority to the speed and cadence sensor, so that if it gets data from both places, it will show the speed and cadence sensor data instead of the data that came from their PowerTap hub. So then that's what we would see in this case. And then that's relevant because when we use the Moxy to connect with units that don't have muscle oxygen profile, we have the Moxy pose as a speed and cadence sensor. So it will, rather than saying it's a muscle oxygen sensor, it says it's a speed and cadence sensor, it gives its serial number, and then it encodes the THB data as speed data in RPMs, and it encodes the SMO2 data as cadence data in RPMs. And then that will show up on the head unit then. And since the Joule gives priority to the speed and cadence sensor, the THB data will show in the speed data field, and the SMO2 data will show in the cadence data field. Now you need to note that in this case, you're not getting any speed data or any cadence data recorded. You're only getting the THB and the SMO2 data, and that's just how the head units work because they haven't yet implemented the muscle oxygen profile where they would actually add in those extra data fields. If you're using a unit that does not give preference to the speed and cadence sensor, then your only choice is to not use if you want to use the Moxy anyway, your only choice in this case would be to not use the power meter. So in this case, you would also not get power data. You would get the Moxy data in the data field and the cadence data field, and you would not get power, speed, or cadence actual data. So I hope this helps clarify that situation. It does depend on which head unit you're using, how things will work when you try and use the Moxy with our speed and cadence hack. And there's these interactions get fairly complicated. Thanks for listening.